Welcome to another episode of Crime Conversations. I'm Carmen Amato in Tennessee, here with.
Jane Berrick, writing as Berwickford in the UK.
So, a transatlantic conversation, and the topic of the day is, should characters age? If you're writing a series, should your characters age or just sort of remain in stasis? What do you think about that, Jane?
But it's a good one. I've enjoyed writers who do both. Some where their characters don't age at all, and some where they do, and some where they age more slowly than the technology in the world they live. I think on the whole, I prefer where there is some character development. But I have enjoyed reading, for example, Lee Child's Jack Reacher books. And although a lot happens to him, his brother dies and girlfriends come and go, he doesn't seem to change or develop emotionally.
And one that I think there's like 33 in the series now is the Guido Brunetti series by Donna Leon set in Venice. He's an inspector. He works on the second floor of the police station. He reports to the same person. His kids are perpetually in high school, and his wife is always reading a Henry James novel. So you're not that concerned with character development, as you say. So the reliance has to be on plot, a gripping plot, and the setting. And so Venice becomes a really big element in that series.
So Venice is almost the character that develops the most as you get to know it.
Oh, really good point. Yes, I think that's a great way to put it. It does. Another series that I like, it's the Stephanie Plum series, sort of, light, frothy mysteries by Janet Ivanovich. And I was, thinking about it, this conversation today, and I went back and read a couple of the intros to the Stephanie Plum books. The way that the character introduces herself is almost identical in every book. She's a fugitive apprehension agent, also known as a bounty hunter, in Trenton, New Jersey. Her wingman is an ex-hooker named Lula, and she's perpetually caught in a triangle between a cop named Moretti and a shadowy bounty hunter named Ranger. Same thing, all books.
So a reader can come in at any point in the series and not be lost. Well, what happened to that character, or where am I, or who are these people? It's all from scratch each time in a way. It doesn't matter where you start in the series.
Exactly. There's no extensive backstory that the author has to tell the reader about. There's
So I haven't read, I've only read one in the series. Do you ever get frustrated that she doesn't make her mind up between Ranger and Moretti, or is that irrelevant to what's going on?
No, I find it annoying. Not enough to keep me. I think I petered out at about book 21. I just was like, okay, I'm
That's
done.
what interests me as a writer, to get to know the character better, to see them change and develop. And you and I are both writing about police officers, and they can't see everything they see and handle everything they handle without changing themselves, because they see some really awful things, and they sometimes see people at their worst, or they often see people at their worst. And I think as a human being, that does change you. So maybe that's a bit of my frustration with a character who doesn't then develop. So we've got the books in the middle where the characters do age, but it's subtle and over a much longer period of time than their age reflects. I'm thinking of someone like Sarah Paretsky, someone I started reading when I was, very young, and the character has aged about 10 years in 40 years. And so there is a development with technology which is right up to date, DNA testing and the internet and da 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 by the most recent book. But the characters only age from about 35 to about 45, maybe late 40s at the absolute most. And there is definite character progression, and there are some references to previous characters, which I quite like. And yet the plots are so strong that you can read one book by itself and not be lost. So I think that's another way of handling something, but probably the best of both worlds, in that, the you can still write your character as young and youthful and not creaking and groaning and, worrying about a new hip or anything like that.
The Spencer series by Robert B. Parker is one of my favorites, and really I can trace my own interest in becoming a mystery author by reading his series. For a long time, he took that middle road. When the series started, Spencer was supposed to have been a veteran of the Korean War, which, even if he was 18 in the 50s, made him considerably older. Parker had Spencer aging very slowly. Thinking that's my model for the Detective Amelia Cruz series,
Right, right.
whereas
Yeah,
she's aged, I think, 3 years in 8.
right.
So, and
Yeah.
I will probably continue slow rolling
Yes.
the years
Yeah,
for
yeah.
her.
I mean, someone else who does that is Kathy Reichs in the Temperance books, the Temperance Bread and the Bones books. I realized she also started writing, I think certainly the 90s. So 30 years on, the character has aged maybe 10 years,
Mhm.
but the technology is absolutely bang up to date. So
So that's the balance. You have
yeah,
to make it believable.
yeah,
I love the idea of forward progression in the character's life. I
yeah.
want to follow along with that character's life, but I don't necessarily want to take the reader out of that universe that's been constructed for the series,
Mm,
and by aging the character in real time.
yeah. I've gone the other way with my crime series with a young PC called Tamsin Poldu. She's right at the beginning of her career. So I've got her as a student officer, and she will progress. But I have made a bit of a problem for myself, because if I'm keeping it absolutely in time as she grows through the ranks, then it's got to be contemporary with what's going on around.
To those series where the character really does age, that
Mm,
are long running series, the character has aged. Do readers want to keep up with a character who is growing older, and plots have to accommodate that?
mm. Like Rebus, maybe? I know
Yes.
you're a fan.
I am a big fan. In his last book, Midnight in Blue, uh, Rebus, who maybe is approaching 70, Ian Rankin has done, and Ian Rankin introduced younger characters. So he has the Clark character and Malcolm Fox character, who are kind of shouldering the burden of the action sequences.
Thinking about Joe Nesbo's Harry Hole books,
Hmm.
and with the spectre of the character getting dementia, and I found that so grim. I did not want to read that sort of character progression. So a little bit of my own hypocrisy creeping in there, but a character that I'd enjoyed and whose brain was so sharp that upset me to the point where I didn't want to continue reading. Did it make you not want to read it, or were you just still very engaged with him?
No, I mean, then I was done.
Yeah.
That was not, I guess, the escape that I wanted when I read. The challenge, I think, in those series, though, both for the writer and the reader, is the amount of backstory. So the
Mm.
character is going to change, it's going to progress, there's going to be a lot of character development over the lifespan of the series. So, how much backstory do you have to put in so that the next book in the series, somebody who hasn't read books 1 through 5 can dip in and just start reading? I think every good series has that thing beyond the age progression of the
Yeah.
character to hang the hat on. For Detective Amelia Cruz, I think the pull of Acapulco is a big part of the success of the series.
Oh, yeah.
She's aging slowly, and she's dealing with a lot of crime, corruption, machismo, family secrets, etc. Some series where the characters don't age and it works out, some in which they age slowly and that works out, and some in which they have really aged.
Mm.
And I don't know, maybe that's our least, we are embracing that least.
Yeah.